We're going to talk about black sheep and how long it takes for anyone to be forgiven. In this subject for purely selfish reasons because I am a black sheep in certain communities. I mean, just yesterday I had a MacArthur Fellow, someone who had received the Genius Grant, someone who I admired, just laugh her ass off at the prospect of me killing myself. I used to admire her, not anymore. Now, what did I do to deserve this, you might ask? Well, a number of people attached rumors and lies that I have rebutted 10 years ago to my name. And just yesterday on Blue Sky, I had somebody lead a campaign against me over a completely invented character assassination campaign. It was someone who totally took a post of mine and initiated this crazy campaign. I don't think anybody even knew why they hated me. I just was there to be hated. And even if you buy into the lies, all this shit that I am alleged to have done, most of it I have not done. I have owned up to every single bad thing I've done. This was like 10 years ago. You are going back in time to the public enemy number one of the literary world from 10 years ago because you're so desperate to find someone to hate. I don't understand it. But then most of the literary world are a bunch of fickle adolescent fuckfaces. Renata Adler published a book called Gone. It was a mildly incendiary volume about the inner workings of the New Yorker. She was blacklisted for about 15 years for this. Renata Adler, the author of Speedboat, which is an amazing novel if you haven't read it. A friend of mine said that I was a smarter Howard Stern because I have done a lot of radio, and I have been called by Colin Marshall, thank you Colin, an intellectual shock jock, which I think lives up to some of my approach, but it's fucking theatrical. I have total strangers, people who I have never met, essentially saying that I should throw myself off of a bridge. I have had that conveyed to me 3 times by one person. I have been asked to hang myself. I have been asked to throw myself in front of a bus, all in the last 48 hours, from total strangers who are flocking to an image of me from 2014 that is not who I am in 2024. There was someone who was saying, maybe he doesn't understand American law because he has a Canadian girlfriend. This was someone I was with in 2014 who I have not had a single conversation with in the last 10 years. I have told friends of mine who are not involved in the literary or media worlds about what happened to me in the last 48 hours, and they say, what? You, Ed? You're a nice guy, you're friendly, you're congenial. Yeah, I know, I try to be. I've got my flaws, I'm difficult, but the literary world apparently needs a black sheep. Even anyone. And I'm the only one who fits the bill because the last sort of scandal was me, I guess. There hasn't been a Norman Mailer type. There hasn't been a Celine or an Ezra Pound. And the hell of it is that I'm not even really involved in that world other than writing essays about old books that nobody reads anymore, that nobody fucking cares about anymore except me. But then I think to myself, well, Howard Stern, who I have been compared to, there was a time in which he was hated by everyone. He kept on doing his thing. He was hated by everyone. And now he gets a begrudging respect. And maybe that is my destiny. Maybe 10 years from now, this kind of weird fucking hatred towards me will stop. I don't understand it. And honestly, it just gives me an excuse to ignore more people and never invite them into all of the grand opuses that I make on any given day. Maybe the hatred for me is because I am so prolific, because I can't be stopped. They keep saying, I wish that motherfucker would stop writing, stop producing, stop making. Who are you to decide whether I stop making and creating stuff, whether I stop expressing myself? That's a form of fascism. I mean, usually if there's someone I don't like, I just ignore him. You know, like this Anil Dash guy, right? I didn't even fucking care about this guy. He apparently has cared about me, and he took the time to tell me multiple times, I wish you threw yourself off a bridge. You can quote me on that. So here you go. It would be the height of hubris to compare myself with Martin Luther King. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to tell you that just before he was assassinated, he was widely hated. Edgar Allan Poe, who everyone celebrates on his birthday, they forget that he polarized everyone, and he was widely hated. So maybe I'm one of those literary Eds who, like Edgar, and I'm not saying that I'm Edgar, hell no, I couldn't do anything that he could do. He was a fucking genius. But Maybe a lot of literary ads, with the exception of Ed Park, are fated to be hated. And the other thing that amuses me is that people are mocking the fact that my YouTube videos don't get a lot of views. I'm not doing these for views. I don't care how many views I get. What are you trying to attack? You can't get me on the work. You can't respond to the work. You can't engage with the work. So instead, you attack the views. I don't give a fuck about views. I get tons of views every time I go on TikTok. Here, this is a more artsy kind of form where I am completely free, and you are completely shackled to the mercantile cadences of late-stage capitalism, and you are not free in any way. Maybe that's why they fucking resent me. And at this point, I really don't give a fuck. I really don't. I mean, like, when you have been hated for 10 years, but you still do what you like to do, and you still have people who love what you do. A lot of people love what I do. Oh, hey, that's probably gonna really piss you off. The people I usually get hate from are people who are not making anything. I'm making things. I have made today, and I will make tomorrow, and I'll continue to make as long as I am alive. And now that I'm not smoking anymore, and now that I'm not really drinking anymore, I suppose that buys me some additional life. So I will outlive my enemies. Although that's not really the main reason I'm making this. It's just baffling to me that that I get this level of hate, because it's completely disproportional to anything I am accused of having done. I'm not Louis C.K. I wasn't violent with anyone. I didn't commit any kind of sexual assault. I didn't do anything like that. And yet I am public enemy number one. Well, fuck you, I guess.